Within the culture, there's this pervasive view that atheism has the intellectual high ground relative to theism. And the reason for this is that the acknowledgement of God's existence is often perceived as naive or intellectually shallow, a sort of blind impulse of the mind. But nothing could be further from the truth. For this reason, we're going to offer, over the course of several videocasts, a summarized version of the metaphysical proof for God's existence as found in Father Robert Spitzer's book, New Proofs for the Existence of God, Contributions of Contemporary Physics and Philosophy. For this particular videocast, we're going to cover the first part of the proof, which shows that at least one unconditioned reality must exist in all of reality. And an unconditioned reality is basically a reality that does not need conditions fulfilled in order to exist, but exists in and through itself by virtue of its very nature. And then in future videocasts, we'll cover the other parts of the proof that show such unconditioned reality to be worthy of the traditional term God. In other words, it's absolutely simple in the metaphysical sense, it's pure being or pure existence, it's absolutely unique, there can only be one unconditioned reality, and it's the continuous creator or divine conserver of all else that is. Now, the thrust of the argument for this particular part of the proof consists in showing the intrinsic contradiction in trying to account for the existence of a conditioned reality, say a cat, without the existence of an unconditioned reality. And as we'll see, the intrinsic contradiction lies in having to deny the existence of the cat when the cat in fact exists. Now, we can start by saying that if there is no unconditioned reality in all of reality, in which case only conditioned realities would exist, realities that need conditions fulfilled in order to exist, well then the cat would be dependent in its existence on either a finite number of conditions, where every condition is a conditioned reality. We'll call that hypothesis F, as Father Spitzer does in his book. Or the cat is going to be dependent upon an infinite number of conditions, where every condition is a conditioned reality. We'll call that hypothesis not F. Now, we know that the cat cannot be dependent upon a finite number of conditions, where every condition is a conditioned reality, precisely because the terminating or last condition of that series of conditions that the cat is dependent upon would not be able to have its conditions fulfilled and thus would not exist. The reason being because there's nothing else in existence to fulfill its conditions. It's the last, most fundamental condition of the cat. But if that last or fundamental condition of the cat could not have its conditions fulfilled and thus could not come into existence, well then every other conditioned reality dependent upon it, including the cat, would not exist. But the cat does exist. Therefore, the cat cannot be dependent upon a finite number of conditions where every condition is a conditioned reality. Thus, hypothesis F is false and thus cannot account for the existence of the cat right here and right now. Well, what about hypothesis not F? Could the cat perhaps be dependent upon an infinite number of conditions where every condition is a conditioned reality? In other words, there's no last or terminating condition in the series, and every single condition is a conditioned reality, a reality dependent upon other conditions in order to exist. Well, this is not going to work either. As Father Spitzer illustrates in his book, one condition that the cat is essentially dependent upon for its existence right here and right now is its cells and the particular structure of its cells. But upon reflection, we notice that the cells could not be fulfilled existing conditions for the cat right here and right now unless its amino acids and proteins existed right here and right now. But the amino acids and proteins could not be fulfilled existing conditions for the cells and ultimately for the cat right here and right now unless its molecules existed and a particular structure of the molecules existed right here and right now. But the molecules could not be fulfilled existing conditions for the amino acids and proteins and for the cells and ultimately for the cat unless its atoms existed right here and right now. And the atoms could not be fulfilled existing conditions ultimately for the cat unless its unless its protons existed right here and right now. Now, if this series of conditions that the cat is dependent upon regresses infinitely to more and more fundamental conditions without a terminating condition that have the same existential status as the aforementioned conditions, namely conditioned realities, well then the search for the fulfillment of conditions would go on endlessly. But if the search for the fulfillment of conditions would go on endlessly, well then every hypothetical conditioned reality in the series would never have its conditions fulfilled, and thus would never come into existence. No matter where we would be at in the series, we would always come to a conditioned reality that's non-existent because it would be dependent existentially upon other non-existent conditioned realities. No condition in the series would ever have its conditions fulfilled, and thus no condition in the series would ever exist. And so a series of conditions, a series of an infinite number of conditions, where every condition is a conditioned reality, is equivalent to a series of non-existent conditions. Now we come back to our question. Can the cat be dependent upon an infinite number of conditions where every condition is a conditioned reality? Well, the answer is no. Because if the cat is dependent upon an infinite number of conditions where every condition is a conditioned reality, well then the cat would be dependent upon a series of non-existent conditions. But if the cat is dependent upon a series of non-existent conditions, well then the cat could not exist. But the cat does exist. Therefore, the cat cannot be dependent upon an infinite number of conditions where every condition is a conditioned reality. Therefore, hypothesis not F is false. It cannot account for the existence of the cat. In fact, it leads to a logical contradiction. We would have to deny the existence of the cat when the cat in fact exists. So what is it that will account for the cat's existence? Well, to answer that question, we return to the syllogism that I started this videocast with. Namely, if there is no unconditioned reality in all of reality, well then the cat is going to be dependent in its existence either on a finite number of conditions where every condition is a conditioned reality, hypothesis F, or an infinite number of conditions where every condition is a conditioned reality, hypothesis not F. But as we've demonstrated, the cat cannot exist under hypothesis F or hypothesis not F. Therefore, there must exist at least one unconditioned reality in all of reality in order for the cat to exist. It is such reality that is the ground of the cat's existence, the ultimate source of the fulfillment of conditions for the cat. So this concludes the first part of the metaphysical proof. Namely, there must exist in all of reality at least one unconditioned reality. Now, we'll have to save the other parts of the proof for a future videocast where we'll consider that such reality is worthy of the traditional term God. It's absolutely simple in the metaphysical sense, it's absolutely unique, and it's the continuous creator or divine conserver of all else that is. If our viewers are interested in learning more about this metaphysical proof, they can check out our website, majacenter.com.